Hello everyone, how are you? So, it's pretty late and you're probably wondering why am I coming on? For starters, I'm not sure if you saw it, but I just watched Betsy DeVos give an address to America about the public school system. For starters, it seems her address was more centered around how do we pull funds out of the public school system and less about how do we help the students in the public school system. Well, if you know anything about me, then you know that my main goal is to reform the lowest performing schools in the public school system. So I had a problem with that. But before I tell you what that problem was, I want to introduce myself. Hi, my name is Nikki C. Patterson, and I'm an educational consultant with I Prevail K through 12 Educational Consulting. I'm an educator with over 10 years in the public school system, and I've helped thousands of students achieve a quality education. So, of course, when I see someone who is over all of the public school systems in America come in and say how they're going to pull the funding because she feels that charter schools or private settings can do a better job of educating our students, then I have a problem with that. So in today's video, I want to tell you why that's a myth and how we can solve that. Okay? So, for starters, in Betsy DeVos's video, she stated that she had gone to one school, and she used that data to determine how that model was going to help all of the schools in America. Well, that's problem number one. For starters, in Louisiana, we have over 272 failing schools. A failing school in Louisiana is considered a DNF school. However, my son attended a school that was only 50%, and his school was ranked a C. In the classroom, by all standards, that would be an F school. So we're not ranking schools based on their performance. We're ranking them based on the score. And she's saying because the school she visited had 60% of the students performing above those low performing schools, which are typically 50% and below, then that's a model for all schools. I have a problem with that. Because if you only have 60% of your students performing well, then that means 40% are not performing well. So what's happening with those 40%? So when we're getting an education secretary or education director and she's going to say, I have the blueprint for how we're going to succeed, yeah, I need her to take a couple seats. Have 2 seats, sit down, and let someone who's actually been there, knows what she's doing, and how to actually improve those schools, work with you and those principals to show you how to do it. So what am I talking about? Last year in 2018, September to be exact, I published my first book. It's called How to Win as a Principal. As an educator in the public school system for more than a decade, I've worked with principals from all walks of life. And over the last 2 years, I've worked to compile the information that I have into one plan. And that plan is called the diversity process, and it has 9 steps. And those 9 steps range from looking at who your students are, their demographics, investigating your data as a school, not as the school, as a school, to see what's going on in your school. Then from there, we need to set a vision for success for those students. And for those students means there's a different community, it's a different upbringing, a different demographic, a different nationality, culture. All of those things matter to the students that are in that school. So hearing Betsy DeVos say she had gone to an upper middle class neighborhood and she had visited a school that still was not performing at the level where other foreign countries are performing, I had a problem with that, because now you're going to tell us in the lowest performing schools where the students are from low income communities and have many other factors that are attributing to their lack of success. Now you're going to tell me what plan you're going to use. So let's continue to look at this 9-step plan. So when we're looking at it, so now we have the vision for success. Now we need to get employees on board who are going to be assets to that vision. So we need to employ the right staff. After that, we need to show them how to build relationships. Sometimes it comes in and says, hi, I'm the teacher, you're the student, so you sit and you do what I need to do. In low-performing schools, in cultures that are different from your own, you may have to adopt some new principles or some new practices. And so in the book, I show you how to do that with employing staff as well as relationship building. From there, we go into how to create a student-centered environment. If we want our students to succeed, then we need to create an environment that's conducive to their learning, to their demographics, to their culture. No, we're not going to cater to our students, but we definitely want them to feel included in what we're doing, in our practices, in our policies, and our procedures. If they're not included, you can shut it down. And I definitely mentioned that in my book in chapter 9. And then from there, we go into the instructional practices. If our goal is to increase the school performance score, then what are we doing in the classrooms? What are we doing to keep the students there? And then after that, we train our teachers. We have the teachers, but now we need to train them so that they have the best practices, the best methods, all of these things. And then finally, you have access granted. It seems like Betsy DeVos granted us access, but she did not go into the steps or a plan for how she was going to achieve the goal she wanted. She just said, hey, look at me. I went to this school, and now that school is performing well, so I want you guys to follow them. But they don't have the same demographic as the students in the lowest performing schools. They don't have the same issues and conditions as the students in the lowest performing schools. So it seems like she missed a lot of steps when she was coming to say, address the American people for education. So with that being said, here are 3 things that you can do in order to make sure that you don't create an offensive like Betsy DeVos. And if you do, you may see me on to address you. But here are those 3 tips. First and foremost, make sure you know who your students are. Make sure you know who your students are. We do not have the same students in all schools across America. So to address one student or one school the same way you would address all schools, that's going to give you a surefire way to fail. So make sure you know who your students are. Number 2, make sure you understand your data. If you understand your data, you're going to understand where the trends, the gaps are, and then you can fill those in based on the students that you have. And then number 3, make sure you understand where you're going. You know who your students are. You know what the trends and the gaps are in the data, and now you know where you're going because you've set a plan to get there. Those are the 3 things that definitely are something that I recognize that Betsy DeVos didn't do when she addressed the American people. So I want to make sure that any leader that is working in a low-performing school that wants to succeed is able to succeed by having a stepped-out plan for how they're going to succeed. If you need more information, you can visit my website, NikkiCPatterson.com. Or if you would like to schedule an appointment so that we can have a conversation about what you're doing in your low performing school or even in your public school in general, you can reach out to me, calendly.com/NikkiCPatterson. That's Calendly, CALENDLY.com/Nikki, NIKKI, Patterson. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact me. But as I said, I am Nikki C. Patterson. I am passionate about improving the lowest performing schools, and I hope to hear from you soon. Talk to you later. Bye.